On September 19th, activists gathered outside the White House to commemorate 1 year since the mass deportation of Haitian asylum seekers in Del Rio, Texas.
We are here because, in spite of the brutality, the media attention, and the outcry and condemnation, thousands of migrants held at Del Rio encampments were still deported by Biden back to Haiti or expelled to Mexico.
The commemoration came as a popular uprising in Haiti entered its third week, sparked by International Monetary Fund imposed fuel price hikes amid spiraling inflation and a state of total insecurity. The US and its junior partners, however, have sought to shift blame for the unrest onto local economic interests in so-called gangs.
Nou pral gen pou nan ajuste pri gaz la. Gen moun ki pral ese chauffe tèt nou. Di nou pren la rue pou pri gaz la pa vini nan pri normal li.
We continue to stand with our neighbor in Haiti as it faces political, fuel gang violence and an enormous human crisis. And we call on the world to do the same. We have more to do.
If you look at the protests that are taking place as a result of the end of fuel subsidies, they are financed by economic actors.
In attendance at the White House protest was former U.S. Special Envoy for Haiti, Daniel Foote, who warned that if Washington does not train a Haitian National Police unit to crush Haiti's so-called gangs, it will launch a full-scale invasion.
The U.S. has two choices. They either reinforce the police now, probably using military trainers, so send a company of special forces trainers to teach the police and set up an anti-gang task force, or send 25,000 troops at some indeterminate but imminent period in the future.
All right, so hi everybody. Welcome back to the Combo Couch. I am Fiorella Isabel. I am here today with Dan Cohen. Following our interview, also we'll be on with Dr. Peter McCullough on Rockfin Only, obviously. But Dan, welcome to the program. Thanks for coming on.
Hey, Fiorella. Thanks a lot for having me.
So you've been talking about this documentary for a while, and about your work on the ground with Haiti now. Haiti is one of the regions where I'm least familiar. We recently spoke to one of our friends about it here as well recently, Danny Shaw, who has been there several times. And we wanted to get your take on it since you have a lot of on-the-ground experience in Haiti. So just give us a rundown as to what the video we just played was and where we are now since then.
Well, essentially, what the former U.S. Special Envoy for Haiti, Dan Foote, said there is true, that the United States is going to intervene in Haiti, whether that is through basically special forces training a hit squad inside the Haitian National Police. And that's the preferred method of intervention for the United States and for elites in Haiti who want to see this uprising put down. And if that doesn't happen, basically because of political factors in the United States and in Haiti, then he says the United States will end up just sending a straight up military invasion, 25,000 troops at some, what he says is indeterminate but imminent moment. And so that I recorded that interview with Dan Foote about 2 weeks ago. And today, Brian Nichols, the Assistant Secretary of State for Western Hemisphere Affairs, basically the top State Department official for the region, and then a number of other officials from the State Department and Pentagon, including a Southcom top commander, went to Haiti to meet with the interim Prime Minister Ariel Henry and his political opposition, which is a group called the Montana Accord, which we can get into who and what they are and what they represent. And their main focus is not only putting down this uprising, but they're blaming it on what they call gang violence, which is a total misnomer, because their principal target is the group that is blockading the main fuel terminal in Haiti, in the harbor, in the port, in the capital of Port-au-Prince. And this fuel terminal called Varro is where 80% of Haiti's fuel comes in from the outside. And so it's, it's the lifeline. It's, if this thing is not running, then Haiti can't function. And so the guy in the group who are blockading it it's Jimmy Cherizier. His nickname is Barbecue, and his armed federation called the Revolutionary Forces of the G9 Family and Allies. Mess with one, you mess with all. That's the official name, but just G9 for short. And this is a real deal, revolutionary group. They have revolutionary aspirations. I spent days with them. They're the subject of my upcoming documentary that I did with Kim Ives, who's a longtime Haiti expert and journalist, and I was really privileged to work with. And yeah, that's the main target. So the U.S. is trying to figure out, how do we take these guys out? But the problem for the U.S. is that if they, send in even special forces right now to train this hit squad, or just to do it themselves in coordination with the Haitian National Police, then that's going to be too obvious of interference for Haitians, and Haitians are going to reject it because, for obvious reasons, they're very much opposed to U.S. intervention. If you look back at the two coups d'etats the U.S. has carried out in the last couple decades against the most popular president in Haitian history, plus U.S. and UN occupations, which were just criminal and horrible for Haitians themselves, and that's just widely acknowledged and known even outside of Haiti. So basically, what the U.S. is trying to do is get the interim prime minister, Ariel Henry, who has been in power since the assassination in July 2021, shortly after, of the president, Jovenel Moise, to get him to make some kind of agreement with the opposition, which is called the Montana Accord. And the Montana Accord is basically a collection of opposition political parties and so-called civil society groups and NGOs, but they're just as dirty as Ariel Henry. Ariel Henry was involved in the 2004 coup against Aristide, and so was the leader of his opposition, the Montana group. Her name is Magali Como Denis, and she was part of this kind of intellectual group called Collectif that helped agitate for the coup. And then she was the culture minister of the coup regime. So it's basically you have, and then there are other figures who are kind of similar, but she's the leader. So it's on one hand you have Ariel Henry, who was involved in the 2004 coup. There's evidence indicating he was involved in the assassination last summer, summer 2021, of the president. And then his opposition is someone who is also involved in the coup. So it's really, the U.S. is we need a more effective puppet. That's why they don't really want Ariel Henry in power, and they want to go with the other ones. And if they go with the other ones, the Montana Accord, then Washington believes that will give them the credibility among Haitians, because it's so-called Haitian-led. This is the thing you hear ad nauseum. So then they can reinforce the Haitian National Police and train some hit squad in a covert way and take out Jimmy Cherizier, the guy who's blockading the fuel terminal, and get back to the status quo of enormous profits for the U.S. and its local oligarchs and sheer poverty for the rest of Haiti.
So, Dan, why do you think that the United States has been so fixated on Haiti and has intervened so many times? It's a small country. It's a small little island. What about Haiti do you think is behind the obsession, it seems like, with U.S. intervention? I mean, the Haitian Revolution, of course, was one of the most inspiring revolutions that led to other revolutions throughout the global South in the Americas. Why do you think the United States is so fixated on continuing to interject themselves in the politics of a small country like Haiti?
Well, you just said it. You hit it right on the head. Back in 1804, the Haitian Revolution basically initiated the collapse of chattel slavery and European colonialism. The newly born Haitian state resisted in an incredible way, and then inspired liberation movements and directly contributed to liberation movements in the Western Hemisphere, in Venezuela, in the United States. There were slave uprisings where Haitians took part, and that Haiti continues to have that role today. It's a vanguard nation in many ways. I mean, so there's of course resources in Haiti, iridium and other rare earth minerals that the U.S. wants to have its hands on. That's part of it, but I think the main thing is the U.S. does not want to allow Haiti to slip out of its grasp, because then it can set an example for other countries, for the rest of the Caribbean, for the Dominican Republic, which is where a lot of the old capital. And so if Haiti goes out of the kind of U.S. grasp, then that does not bode well for ongoing U.S. control over the region. And those islands, of course, are important for U.S. Hegemony, in order not only for those islands themselves, but to project power over the region. So it's like, Haiti itself is, yes, a relatively small country. It's half an island. But, the U.S. just cannot and will not let there be an example, as there was in 1804, or even if you look at the Pink Tide. Aristide, the president Jean-Bertrand Aristide, was the first he was the first president elected in the Pink Tide, before Chavez, before Evo, before Kirchner, like any of those guys. And so Latin America really followed the example of Haiti in a lot of ways. So it plays a very outsized role in the kind of geopolitical chessboard, particularly in the region of the Americas.
And now looking in terms of the international geopolitics, right? We see a shift towards multipolarity. We're seeing a shift away from the unilateralism of the United States and the West. This is also obviously part of the ongoing conflict in Russia and Ukraine. And we see a lot of pushback from not just Russia, China, but from Latin American nations, African nations. Do you see Haiti joining this international sort of pushback against the West? And where do you see Haiti in terms of the BRICS and the ALBA movements, if perhaps a revolutionary takeover does come through?
Well, one important thing to look at is, if you go back to before the assassination of President Jovenel Moïse, he was installed by he was hand selected by a U.S. puppet who was himself installed by Hillary Clinton in 2011 in totally falsified elections. So Michel Martelly, that's his name, the guy who was installed in 2011. He was a singer, and you can find all kinds of lewd videos of him rubbing his nipples and stuff on YouTube and singing and dancing. And then he gets put in power by Hillary Clinton. Okay, 2016, there's new elections. Martelly's guy is just this unknown banana salesman named Jovenel Moïse. And Moïse was a very meek figure. He did exactly what the U.S. wanted him to do. He went along with the program. And eventually he decided, all right, I want to kind of accomplish some things as president for the countryside, which is where he was from. And so he started going to the local oligarchs, that he had made this like Faustian bargain with in order to get into power. And they rejected him. And so that's one of the main factors that led to his assassination. But the other thing that has, doesn't really get talked about is that Jovenel Moïse, about 10 days before he was assassinated, had accepted the Russian ambassador. So he was growing closer to Russia, and he was also looking towards Venezuela. He had supported Guaido at Trump's basically demand. Trump took him to Mar-a-Lago and said, "You have to support Guaido." And then eventually, when he wanted to do his own thing a little bit, he started to look towards Venezuela and have relations with Maduro. He also, I believe, went to Turkey And so he was basically looking, away from the United States and its puppets, and starting to look towards multipolarity, towards, the naughty countries. And then lo and behold, 10 days later, he gets murdered in his house by a bunch of Colombian mercenaries. Um, so there's definitely, some kind of political current in Haiti that is looking towards, the other powers of the world. Haiti does still recognize Taiwan, which, of course, is a total weakened puppet of the United States. That's been something that's there. So, it doesn't have warm relations with China yet, but
Mhm.
what the foreign policy of a revolutionary government, if the G9 were to succeed, I don't know if Jimmy Cherizier and who the G9 leaders have thought that far ahead. And what I know, I've never, any conversation I've had with any of those guys, which is, of course, translated, and my colleagues at Haiti Liberté, who are really doing the best work on just Haiti in general and on the G9 and Jimmy Cherizier. I haven't seen any report anything like that, but I mean, the U.S. is gunning for Cherizier right
Mhm.
now, and so there's an obvious, there's common interest if they were able to get to power, that for a revolutionary Haitian government to to look outside of the purview or the scope of Washington.
Yeah, and there's also been, a little bit of conflict with Haiti and other Latin American countries. Like Lula got a lot of criticism for his previous actions towards Haiti when he was president, and there's all of this in Latin America where it seems like even in the United States, when the immigration happens with Haitians, the Haitians aren't even taken into consideration as much as like from the liberals and the Karens that are crying about immigrants and kids in cages. They really didn't really seem to mind that the Haitians, were just returned in Canada as well. Like they don't. It seems like there's less attention on that. What is the sentiment too in Haiti in terms of how they've been perceived in Latin America, and in terms of those sort of issues coming, either going into the past or working through them?
Well, yeah, I mean, you're right that inside the U.S., there's really not any serious kind of sympathy. Haitians don't get the same kind of sympathy that other migrants do. Obviously, Ukrainians, they're given the red carpet and treated as heroes. But when you so in September of 2021, there were a bunch of Haitian asylum seekers that got deported from Del Rio, Texas. And the interesting thing is, so that clip you played, that from that protest I went to where Dan Foote spoke, that was a 1 year commemoration since those deportations, and it was where they were commemorating it, and that became kind of Dan Foote is like the most fervent advocate of intervention in Haiti to put down the G9 and Jimmy Cherizier, also known as Barbecue. So he basically did, like, he's trying to portray himself as this enlightened kind of former diplomat who now sees that intervening, meddling in Haiti is wrong. And, now we just have to have this Haitian led solution, which, comes with the US military behind it. So that's how this whole, the kind of sympathy for those Haitian asylum seekers that were deported has been weaponized. But, obviously we're not seeing AOC, going to Del Rio, Texas and crying on in really immaculate photos, not seeing really anyone, not that was genuine, but it's not politically expedient for
Yeah.
her anymore. So, but I mean, in terms of the question you asked about Haitians in Latin America, I mean, Haitians love Venezuela. They love Chavismo. I know that for sure. I mean, there's a park that Chavez built right near the airport in Port-au-Prince that, there's a huge statue. And the under Chavez, they had the Petrocaribe deal, which was just huge amounts of fuel and loans, basically, for without any interest, and it was just an incredible benefit to Haiti. And then the Martelly regime, the U.S. backed Martelly regime, basically embezzled it and just wasted it, and so that all dried up. So that's gone, but there's still a lot of love among the Haitian masses for the real revolutionary governments. And in terms of the Brazil thing, I know Haitians love, they love Brazil, and Brazil's soccer team especially, because it's kind of seen as they're it's like they've adopted it because it's like a majority, I think, majority black country. And so Haiti's soccer team has never rarely done very well. So but yes, I mean, the Lula da Silva thing in Haiti, deploying Brazilian, agreeing to deploy Brazilians as part of the UN peacekeepers, so-called peacekeepers, as an occupation force, is obviously a reviled move, considering how horrible they were. And it's a mark on Lula's record, without a doubt. I mean, I don't know if, maybe, I think basically he was thinking that by collaborating essentially with the Bush administration those years, that he would get something out of it. But obviously, so there was some kind of national interest that Lula saw, but obviously that didn't work out in the long term for him in terms of relations with the U.S.
Right.
So there's, I mean, there's a lot of solidarity that remains between Haiti and Latin America, the revolutionary governments in Latin America. But the situation in Haiti is very much up to Haitians, and they have to resist, as they are. And the stakes are just getting higher with the U.S. deploying military right now. And another important point I don't think I addressed at the beginning is the U.S. not only are these officials down there, but the Coast Guard. They deployed a Coast Guard vessel off the coast of Haiti. It's on patrol, and it sounds kind of innocuous, Coast Guard, but this is military. And it basically has attack boats that it can send. So for like special forces that are equipped with machine guns on these boats. So that is now patrolling the coast of Haiti. I'm sure, in the waters, probably close to Port-au-Prince. And so the U.S. has said, well, we're not sure. We're considering military intervention and having talks about it, but it's premature. Meanwhile, they're actually deploying at least some military assets to the coast of Haiti. So to me, it's like strategic ambiguity. Like they're kind of downplaying it, but the forces are actually being deployed, at least to some degree.
So, and just a couple questions more that I have. When people think about Haiti, unfortunately, the image of just an impoverished country comes up, right? There's just so much lack of just basic needs, basic food, healthcare, water, all of these things. What are Haitians really fighting for? The Haitians we've seen out in the streets protesting, are they fighting? Obviously they're fighting for national sovereignty, as you mentioned, but also what like basic things are that are in need in Haiti right now? And what is something about Haitians that most people just don't know when they just think of it as this just stereotypical impoverished country?
Right. Well, I mean, I think, people are really looking for not only national sovereignty and dignity, and for, there has been massive protests just against foreign intervention. They saw the interim prime minister, Ariel Henry. He requested military support from the United States, and there was just a massive demonstration against that. So not only do they not want foreign interference, but in the protests, for example, that you'll see in my documentary with Kim Ives called Another Vision, you see people saying, we need schools, we need healthcare, we need food, we need clean water, we need security, basic things, the basic things that people need to live. And if you go to the slums that are much of Port-au-Prince, where the majority of people live, it's just it's absolute squalor. It's It's the worst poverty in the Western Hemisphere. It's huge amounts of people packed into little shanty towns with, tin roofs that can collapse at any moment, with, violence plaguing it, armed criminal groups. There are real criminal armed groups that operate on behalf of local oligarchs that are tied to the US. And those are the guys that are fighting the G9, that attack the G9. And so just extremely severe conditions. And that's really, what it's about is, you know, making Haiti into what it can and should be, a very proud country, that, really all of us in the Western Hemisphere owe a debt to, that we're not living today in a slave system, and that, we have progressed as far as we have. So I think that's what Haitians are looking for, is for for Haitians to take care of Haiti, and for the to solve their own problems, and for the U.S. and its neocolonial partners in Canada and France and the Dominican Republic to stay out and just let Haitians take care of Haitian affairs.
And my last question, Dan, is where do we go from here right now with what's happening with Haiti? Do you believe that they will succeed? Do you believe that obviously the United States is gunning, right? It is gunning for Haiti. We see that. But do you believe the resistance and the revolutionary resistance is strong enough to offset that? And what happens after that?
Well, definitely, Haitians are strong enough. Will this revolutionary movement succeed? It's impossible to predict. I mean, obviously, going up against a powerful empire like the United States, is a tall order, and any revolutionary armed group in Haiti is totally outmatched in terms of weaponry and manpower. However, look at history. Look at what happened in Afghanistan. The U.S. took 20 years and couldn't beat a bunch of farmers with rifles. What happened in Iraq? What happened in Vietnam? Again, a bunch of farmers who knew their land very well and were able to defeat the U.S. So the U.S. is not really is great at starting wars, is not good at winning them, but it's just totally unknown what will happen. But I think the key thing for us outside the United States and the West, is to declare hands off Haiti, and not be afraid to oppose this intervention, and not be captured by propaganda emanating from the National Endowment for Democracy into the New York Times and Associated Press about all these bogus massacres, which there hasn't been any reporting to show that these are bogus, that allegedly Jimmy Cherizier carried out, but my documentary will show that there's no evidence behind it. And so it's important to not only be focused on Ukraine right now, and obviously Ukraine is dominating the headlines and it's insane, and there's a new psyop every single day. But it's important to oppose U.S. empire in Haiti, because it's a really critical moment, and everyone should tweet, go to organize a protest, demand hands off Haiti.
Well, thank you, Dan. And yes, you're right. I mean, everything, Ukraine's dominating everything. And that's why, even when we covered Brazil, it was like hard to even cover that, because so many people are just like Ukraine, Russia. And, living in Moscow, it's like all I see. So that's why I like having people on that have done the on the ground work. So thank you for coming on. Give us where your documentary will be at, the name, and of course, any social media and projects you have coming up.
So the documentary is called Another Vision: Inside Haiti's Uprising, and it gives the background. It really gives the background to this moment. What is the G9? What are the political circumstances that led to its formation, and its evolution into what it is today? What are the charges against it? The massacres I was talking about, and what evidence is there? We spend an absurd amount of time dissecting that stuff, and we haven't published it quite yet. We're just, under the gun, obviously, to get it out. We will publish it on Haiti Liberté is the outlet producing it, which everyone should if you want to understand Haiti and what's happening there, read Haiti Liberté. It's the largest weekly newspaper in Haiti, and it's online. And the English language editor is Kim Ives, close colleague and friend of mine. But it's led by a bunch of Haitians. Kim is just the English language editor. And so we'll also have it on my new channel that I'm starting called Uncaptured Media. And just watch on my Twitter, and we'll have it out. So I'm trying to get a release date nailed down, but it's imminent. So just keep an eye on my social media, and we'll have it out soon.
All right, so that's Dan Cohen 3000 on Twitter and Uncharted Media. Congratulations, nice name, by the way.
Uncaptured.
Sorry, see,
it's all good.
Uncaptured. Okay.
Maybe I'll have to go with Uncharted now. No.
Uncharted sounds good. That's another good one. But
Uncaptured is like the idea is like you're not captured by propaganda. Remaining a free, independent thinker. So
I get it. Uncharted sounds a little too like neo-colonialist for me.
Right. Yeah, going into these wild territories. Yeah. So
yes. So okay, Dan. Well, I hope everything's good in the belly of the beast, and thanks for coming on. We'll see you next time.
Thanks a lot.